How about now, folks? Do we have sound? Do we have sound? That is the question. We are looking out. Hearing sound. Ed is... Right, so that may be just because Ed is only down the road in Cardiff and I'm shouting. But, yes. Oh, thank goodness. I thought for one moment then we were in trouble, but we've managed to rescue it. Don't ask me how, but we did. It's something to do with something that wasn't working, which now is, and we're all okay. Lots of thumbs up. I can hear you, Abigail said. Loud and clear, Tina Thompson. Yes, sound, Sharon Paget. That's great. Oh, that was just typical of how things have been going for numerous weeks. Just when you think you've got things coming together, it all falls apart. I don't know about getting my ducks in a row. I'd be happy if my ducks were all on the same pond. But we've got sound, folks. We are together at last. As I say, Caroline can't be with me tonight, but I'm glad that I've managed to make it, and I'm glad that we got a video out. It's getting very sort of complex, the life and everything at the moment. So as we're trying to do things, as I think it was 3 weeks ago that we had to put out a message saying that we were in, literally when we should have been doing a live show, which we'd planned to do, we were in a hospital visiting a relative and we couldn't get back. And that situation is still unfolding, as well as other things that are going on. So we're really wanting to try and keep something happening while trying to deal with all the other stuff. And what I've decided to do is that last night the video went out on the last day of February. So of course today now is the 1st of March, hence the tie. And I've already seen, I think it was Ed putting up some Welsh greetings for a happy St. David's Day. So to anyone out there with any Welsh heritage or connections, or anybody who happens to like Wales or thinks we've got a rather nice flag, which I do think. I think we've got one of the best flags in the world. We may not have everything going for us, but we've got a jolly nice flag. Then a very happy St. David's Day to you all. But as I say, we wanted to try and keep something happening, and whereas the last month or two it's been a bit haphazard, we've had to cancel last minute. What I'm going to commit to is just looking forward over the next couple of months, because of the schedule we have, I will get a premiere out on the last Friday of the month and follow that with a live show. That's what I'm going to commit to tonight, so that at least we keep in touch through this period, and it means that you have some kind of regularity and continuity, because I know sometimes people don't get the messages that we put up last minute on Facebook, etc. Don't know what's happening. So for the moment, just going forward at the moment, rather than just leaving it open-ended and not knowing when we can or can't show up, I'm going to make sure that I get a video edited and premiered on the last Friday of March, April, May, and then we'll see where we're going from there. Of course, that also means then that we always take a break in May, because when we're away, so it won't be affected by that, because we'll still be able to put it out. And also we're heading off for a couple of days later this week, because as you could possibly see up there, Panky's been baking, because she's been making a panda-sized cake for Caroline, ready for Thursday when she celebrates her birthday. So we've got that to look forward to as well. And whatever happens, however complicated and busy life gets, we're stopping the clock on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and I'm taking time out. I've closed the diary, I've stopped all work, and we're taking time out to be together and to celebrate and take just a little trip for her birthday. So we're looking forward to that. But as I say, I've been watching what's been going on in the chat before we came online, because I can look at the chat then. It's tricky now because I'm trying to remember what Caroline told me. Look at the camera. And at the same time, I keep seeing the chat moving and I'm thinking, what's happening over there? But I noticed numerous people talking about temperatures, and I think it was Mike was saying that the temperatures with themselves are like a roller coaster, going from -9 to +11 forecast in a couple of days. Well, we were on +11, 12, 13, 14 up until 2 days ago, and then the white stuff was back, not the snow, just the frost, as we're back to about -2 or 3 now. So not as cold as we do, Mike, but still a chilly start in the mornings, and a bit of a jolly nuisance if you've got to get the car going first thing because of the frost on the windows. But all things being equal, we are going to have a show tonight. We are going to have happy news. We're going to have questions. We're going to have how many times was Monkey in the movie? All those things. And I know that Ed will be guessing because he's already admitted he hasn't checked. So we'll see how that goes. Caroline, happy 21st birthday again. Yes, actually, it is something first, but I don't think it's her 21st. Because having been married to her for 43 years, that's unlikely. But there we go. Thank you for all those happy birthday greetings. That's lovely. Thank you very much. And as I say, we're going to be celebrating together. Okay, well, hang on now. I've got to check who was in first, haven't I? That's right. Fortunately, we may have lost sound, but we didn't lose chat. Wow, you were a chatty lot tonight. That's brilliant. It took me forever to get back to the top. But at the top on my list of chat, we have got first in, Bonnie Tyler fan 34, saying hi all. And then Lexi B from Lexi Larks and Crafts saying hi everyone. And then we've got a hey from Laura Sully's Creations. So it's Bonnie Tyler fan, Lexi B and Laura. You were the first 3 in. You take the 1, 2 and 3 on entry. But of course there'll be a lot of opportunities for people to do a 1, 2 and 3 when we give out our podium positions. We will ride the roller coaster together, Mike says. Yeah, well, it is a bit freaky with the weather because it was, I suppose what was wrong with our weather was the temperatures going up to nigh on 15 degrees. That's a bit weird for this time of year. The frosts we should be expecting. But it is that swing, that pendulum. The wind direction changes and everything alters. And of course, that's the concern with the change in temperatures now, is that whilst the scientists say the world is warming up, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to get warmer for any particular group of us, because for some it may get warmer, for others it may get colder. And they tell me that here in the UK, it's definitely getting wetter. So we've had a lot of flooding as well. So it's a complicated time, but whatever the weather, we're still glad to be able to get out and about, and especially when the sun shines. And that's one thing for the frostier weather, is that it has brought sunshine during the day. This is the kind of time of year here in the UK, at least, if you get sunny days, you pay for it with frosty nights. So we'll take the one because we enjoy the other, and we do enjoy a nice sunny day. And yesterday I had to travel to Bridgend in order to go to work. So we took the opportunity, Caroline and myself, to go out for lunch, then go on to Bridgend. I did my service and then we travelled back. So it was nice to be down that part of the world. And it was lovely, glorious, sunny day here in Wales. There we go. Okay, what if we kick off with a question? Shall we kick off with a question? I'll tell you what, this question, now I should warn you, I've mixed the questions a little because of the mixture of finds, because I've brought some finds from this week's video, and I've brought some finds from the last video that went out when we ended up at the hospital, so I could not show you the finds. And among the finds that came from the first video, of course, there was that little bundle of pipe bowls, which we said we would show you cleaned up. So I have cleaned them up, and brought them down, and we've got them with us tonight. I'll just show you two before we go over to the question jingle, and I'll show you two because they're a matching pair. There we go. If you can see those there. They both have the letters on the back, which I believe is TW, and they both have that heart striker on the side there in the shape of a heart, so that you can strike your match to light your pipe and light your tobacco. But of course, whilst made by the same company in the exact same mould, it would appear, looking at the shape and size, they look identical. The one is a completely different colour to the other, and that is unusual. We have not seen that before, whereas obviously the white clay is quite common. So they made a nice pair to bring back. So you can guess that when I get this question, if I can find it, yep, if I can get the question jingle to go, then the question's going to be about clay pipes. Okie dokie. A clay pipe question for you all. Are you ready? The first clay pipe smoking pipes were probably made in London. At the end of which century? Was it A, the 15th century, B, the 16th century, or C, the 17th century? Go. What do you think, folks? As I say, they were made all over the place, but they think the first ones, these type of clay pipes, were probably produced in London, and they would have been made at the end of which century? The 15th, that would be A, the 16th, that would be B, and the 17th, that would be C. Now, this always confused me when I was in school, when I was a kid, that the 15th century means 1600 and odd, the 16th century means 1700 and odd, and the 17th century means 1800 and odd. That used to kind of fry my brain a little, but that's the way it works. So are you thinking A, B or C, 15th, 16th or 17th century for the time when mass production of clay pipes probably began in London? Right, let's have a look here. Well, we've got a few answers coming in. Let's have a look. Let's go all the way. Ooh, yes, quite a few answers. Let's go back up to the top. Okay, there seems to be quite a consensus in the early answers of C, because we've got 1, 2, 3 C's out of the first 4 answers. But we've also got an A from Colin Scott at the third answer, and Lexi B has gone with 15th century. But then, having had 2 A's and 4 B's, 2 A's and 4 C's, we then have 3 B's, which is the correct answer. So we had to come down a little way to find the correct answer, which was the 16th century. And the first of those, well, Bonnie Tyler fan got in first on entry and now gets the first gold podium of the night, because Bonnie Tyler fan 34 has put a B. Ian Davis, I believe, was pipped to the post and got in 4th when we were on the entry. They were 4th person to arrive in the chat tonight, but are the 2nd person with the correct answer. So Ian Davis, you have got a silver. And then Laura Sully's Creations, another person from the original 3 is in, and Laura Sully Creations has got bronze for a B. And then we went back to A's again. So there we go. It seems in that top 10 that the least popular answer was B, but it was the correct answer. they were beginning to produce clay smoking pipes at the end of the 16th century. So there we have it. Okay, well, let's have a look at a few more. I have a huge lag today. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, by the way, folks, just to mention on that, yesterday, everybody's premiere seemed to be stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping. I know a few people came up with fixes. Thank you for that. The fix that worked for us, and I know one or two others tried it, was we just pulled the little marker back and replayed 10 seconds of the video, and as soon as we did that, it played for the next quarter of an hour with no problem. I'm just saying that in case we've got a bit of a YouTube issue, because we had a big YouTube issue for about 2 years when we had terrible problems, which eventually they sorted out. But just for you to know, if that lag problem comes, then if you just pull it back just 10 seconds, that seemed to fix it yesterday on the premiere. I'm not saying it'll work here. Okay, so let's have a look at a few more of these pipes. As I say, those two had to come home because they're a matching pair, but totally different colours. Then we've got this guy. Now we see quite a few of these. This is a slight, I say modern, but this is probably, when I say modern, it is newer than some because it is a larger bowl. And as you all know, as it got less expensive to smoke tobacco, then people smoked more of it, which with all the knowledge we have now wasn't probably a good thing. But in fairness, no one had a clue back then. And this one is something we've seen a few times before because it says O'Brien, Dublin. What does that say in the middle there? Max? Or something street, is there? There we go. But we've seen the O'Brien Dublin stamp before. Another one that we've seen before, but as we commented when we were doing this video, this one is slightly smaller than some of the ones we've picked up. It's got that hawthorn pattern on it. Jury's out with me on this one. I don't know. It's very tactile. I appreciate that. It's very tactile. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather hold a smooth pipe or one with these because knobbly bits all over it. I don't know, but it's definitely tactile and it's different, and I assume it would have gone down the stem as well because you can see it comes as far as there on this one, and I have seen pieces of stem with it on, so meant to look like a hawthorn twig or branch, but as I say, quite a strange thing to hold because rather than the very smooth in the hand effect of this, which just sits in your hand, this feels a little uncomfortable, shall we say. But I don't know. Obviously, they must have sold a few because we have found one or two, as have other people. And I've got one more pipe bowl that I managed to clean up and bring down, and I did that because here we have, I remember the excitement when we first found one of these. These are absolutely brilliant. There's footballers playing a game of football all the way around this pipe. And as I cleaned this up, I realized this is quite a crisp version of it because sometimes they do get worn and they do get a little damaged on the figures around the clay. But that's in quite good order. And hopefully you can see it there. So there we go. That one with the footballers, and if I hold it up there you can see the football right on the front there. I did notice that the football is probably twice the size of the man's head, so no prizes for getting their proportions right, but I still think a novel idea to make a mould like that for someone who was into their football. Some football supporter going off to the match on a Saturday afternoon with his pipe full of tobacco 100 years ago. There you go. So that was an interesting one as well. Now, when we've got things like this, The good thing is they don't take a lot of room. It's much easier to pop them in a pocket, or we can even pick up a pot and fill them with pipe bowls and stoppers. But there are some things then which are a little bit too bulky to carry. I don't mind how big it is. If it's really striking and unusual, then I will endeavour to bring it home, as I have done with numerous flagons over the time, because they are jolly heavy. But when it comes to some things, then we just have to leave them behind, which is what we had to do on this occasion, of course, with the Bovril bottles, because we found so many Bovril jars. But I do have one to show you, because even though we left some behind, we wouldn't have left one like this behind, because as you can see immediately, it's a much lighter colour. There we go. If I get one from up here, you can see the stark difference between the two. We're just like with the pipes, the totally different shades. Well, there's a totally different shade there, and this one in my left hand is much older than the one in my right hand. They both have on them Bovril Limited. This one's a 4 ounce, this one's a 2 ounce, but I've had 4 ounces, 8 ounces, as dark as this. But that lighter glass comes from an earlier time, and as you can see by the neck, it's a slightly different design. And whereas this here, that flat face is just on the same level as the rest of the glass, on this one it is recessed. That is recessed inside there. So this is a more ornate glass. I think personally I prefer the colour on this, and of course because of the colouring you're able to see the imperfections inside the glass. You can see the bubbles. And on this particular one, at first I thought there was a crack just there. Can you see it? That's not a crack. That is a seam of running down there, which is ridged. There's one there and there's one there, and that's a seam on the bottle where it was pressed in the mould, I'm presuming, and the mould didn't close tightly, so there was a tiny gap and it created that line on either side. So you've got a shoulder of glass just there, which is totally smooth. And as you know, for me, imperfection in mass-produced items is perfection itself. If you get millions of coins made and one of them comes out wrong, the one that comes out wrong is worth far more than all the others. If you get stamps and they print millions upon millions, but one sheet comes through misprinted, if it gets into circulation, they become the prized possession, the most valuable. And I think that's true of everything, and I think that's true of people as well, is that it's not about just being like everyone else, but it's those little imperfections that make us different is what makes us valuable. And whilst this has no monetary value of any great significance, there's enough in this for me to bring it home, which these days, when I'm carrying a big bag full of heavy glass and bricks and goodness knows what, getting in the bag is the name of the game, and that one won it. I've got a question related to that, so let's do another question. Let's go down for the question. Here we go. Sorry folks, I was looking at the comments then for a minute. I thought I can have a quick look at the comments now. And I did notice, very good point from Rachel Ramey. It's also easier to see what's left in the jar with this than it is with this. None of them, though, were a very good shape, in my estimation, for getting the contents out. they were a bit awkward, I think, for getting it out. But there it goes. That's what they were. Now, if we go back to the beginning of the story of Bovril, it was actually invented, as you will all know, because I have made this statement numerous times at different points along our journey, by a Scotsman, John Lawson Johnston. Now that's Johnson with a T. Up in Scotland, very often after the S and before the ON, they put a T. So very often in Scotland, somebody who would be called Johnson further south is called Johnston when they're up there. And he was a Johnston, John Lawson Johnson. And he invented it after winning a contract to supply 1 million cans of beef. To which army in the 1870s? Was it A, the British Army, B, the American Army, or C, the French Army? Go. Who do you think the Scotsman John Lawson Johnson was inventing Bovril for? I love the fact that he got a contract to supply 1 million cans of beef, and they ended up with 1 million bottles of Bovril. If I was a soldier in that army, I would say it as it is, I'd feel ripped off with a bottle of that when I was expecting a can of beef. That don't look the same to me. But of course, technically, it was taken from cows. But I still don't think it was a can of beef. But he did all right, because he delivered 1 million of those. To which army? Was it the British Army, the American Army, or the French Army? Let's have a look where we're going on the answers. There's lots have come in. I got to wind my way back to the top. Oh, thank you everyone for joining in tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. Let's have a look. Right. I can tell you it was actually the French Army. Okay. He delivered them to the French Army. Now it's looking like the British Army is going to be the most popular answer. But we're looking for the French, which is C. Let's make sure I'm at the top. The first C to appear comes from Dan Fetters. So Dan, you have got the gold. Now I'm going to go down a little. Lexi thought it was the British. Ribble Finescraft thought it was British. Ian Davis thought it was British. Ed Creative went French. There we go. Went C. So it's Dan Fetters, Ed Creative, and I'm looking for somebody else who didn't think it was British. Oh, we've got a couple here. But the first of them was Sharon Paget, who pipped to the post Rachel Bailey by a hair's breadth and a split second, but Rachel just missed the bronze and it went to Sharon. So there we go. It's Dan, Ed and Sharon for knowing it was the French Army, or even guessing it was the French Army. Whichever way it was, it makes no difference. You three have gold, silver and bronze for that question. And yeah, I would say probably 3-1, if not 4-1, the answers went British. But obviously people know enough of their history to realise it wouldn't have been America. Radio. It would also been a bit far to travel them, wouldn't it? Okay. Corn dog. I'd prefer corned beef too, said Ed. Yeah, as I say, it's amazing, isn't it? You enter a what do they call it? A competition for a contract to supply 1 million cans of beef, and you send them 1 million jars of Bovril. No wonder the French don't like us. It's quite understandable when you think about it, isn't it? Right then, I tell you what, we're halfway through, so I think we should have some happy news. Okie dokie. First bit of happy news. The title says, and both of these are related to relationships. The first is From Prom Date to Lifesaver. Despite holding the presidency of the Student Council and being voted most likely to succeed, 16-year-old Sean Moyer had his prom night invitation declined. Ooh, there's a strong-minded girl that said no to him. Sean needed a backup, and though he didn't know it at the time, the young lady with the ringlet curls and a year-to-year smile that he found by the name of Eleanor Hershey would end up saving his life 35 years later with a kidney donation. Key to this remarkable story is the University of Pennsylvania Medical Center's innovative paired exchange program. Let's say you want to donate a kidney to your friend, but the two of you don't genetically match. What the program does is match your kidney with someone in need, and in return will bump your friend to the top of the waiting list. Eleanor's friend was married to one of Moyer's friends, and word reached her that her prom date was on a dialysis waiting list for a kidney. But while they made a clever match on prom night, they were not eligible to share organs. So Eleanor and Stuart started the paired exchange process. So her kidney went to someone else who was desperately in need. And Stuart now would receive another as soon as it became available. When the donor had been found, Stuart's first response was to tell Eleanor. He texted me with the news, she said, and when I saw it, I caught my breath a little and I started to cry a bit. So I thought that was a lovely story about, we had, if I remember rightly, the last live show we actually did, which would have been the premiere before last, or a month ago, there was a story of a dad that gave a kidney to someone because someone had once given a kidney to his child. It's that there, it was that sort of paying back. But here, it was an altruistic act on behalf of someone. This couple hadn't seen each other after they left school. So she got to here. She thought, oh, that's a shame. Nice chap, I'll help. She couldn't help because they weren't a genetic match. But due to the program, she could say, well, I'll give my kidney to anyone on the list who needs it in exchange for the first compatible kidney to come in to go to my friend. And that's how they did it. And as it says, from prom date to lifesaver. So I thought that was a lovely story. In the midst of all the mayhem and madness that is our news today, I thought that was a little bit of encouraging, inspiring, uplifting news. Stories of people doing right by each other and even going the extra mile. And on this occasion, it drew in strangers because whilst two friends wanted to be, while a friend wanted to help a friend, they ended up helping a stranger and another stranger helped their friend. Wouldn't the world be a wonderful place if we had more programs that allowed people to help people? Because that makes the world a better place. My best friend's daughter donated her kidney to her dad, Abigail Howes is saying. Wow. And Lise Warren said the Atlantic Ocean made me lose the prawns. But yeah, I got it right. There we go. Oh, and Rachel Bailey said, I knew it was Napoleon III's army. There we go. We've got some history buffs in. Excellent. Right. Here's another find. I'm going to show you two finds now. One from the video that never got a live show because we ended up at the hospital. And one from the video that went out last night. And what links these two is that they both, Caroline decided that if she wasn't bringing anything else back, she was bringing these. The first one was her twisty bottle. A bottle with a twist. Isn't that nice? Now, right in the center of the cartouche there, can you see the bubble? There's a bubble right in the middle of there, which gives an indication that this is not a very modern bottle, because it's a pressed bottle, yes, but the distortion, the misshaping as it's come to the top, and that bubble tells us that's got a little bit of age to it, even though it's not ancient, but it's definitely got a bit of age to it. And it was just nice to see this sort of effect, this twist effect. And Caroline liked it enough to say that will go in the bag. And I've got to give it to Caroline. She's much better than me when it comes to leaving things. I struggle with leaving things, but she's pretty good because she knows that she can't move here for all of the stuff I bring home. And then this week she said that she had to bring home this bottle. There we go. And it's a shame that the light is there, because if we had a light here, you would be able to see just how bright and blue this is. If I tilt it like that, can you see the blue on the bottom there? Can you see that blue effect if I just tilt the glass? But from my side, it looks almost like a piece of Lalique glass. And you've got that sunrise in the corner with it spreading out across the front. And of course there was a room there for a label. Now I had a little time to research, but not much, and I found a few bottles with sunbursts on them, but nothing quite like that. I don't know if anyone out there recognizes that bottle from something that they are familiar with. But as I say, the blue, when the light catches it, from my side, how blue that is absolutely amazing. I can see why Caroline wanted to bring it. And if I hold it just there, I know you can see the deep blue around the side. But that reflects up through the white glass and makes it feel like as if there's a blue light shining from inside the bottle. So that I thought was quite impressive. But Caroline loved them both and decided to bring them home with her. Right then, before I show you the next set of finds, I'm going to ask you another question. Let's have a look if I can find me little jingle. Here we go. Because I've got one question which I've been carrying over week after week after week for months now, and I'm pretty sure we've never used it yet, so I'm hoping that we will get to it tonight. I'm hoping that we will do all the questions, because I'm a terror when I'm on my own for chatting away and not getting the questions done. Yeah, Sharon Paget agrees with Caroline anyway. That's a definite keeper. Is the glass sick, or do you think the whole thing will clean up that clear blue? There's something inside the glass. I'm not sure. I think on the edge there may be a problem. But I think the glass is designed to be a sort of, what's the word for it when it's not clear, it's cloudy. And then I think they've put the blue in the glass here that kind of is meant to radiate up. So I'm not sure if that is blue glass. Maybe it is. It's hard to tell, but obviously I didn't take the top off, so I haven't been able to get on the inside and start cleaning it. But we'll have to have a good go at cleaning this up and see how we can get it to look. I did manage to get a registration number off it, because there's a registration number on the bottom, but I couldn't actually read it, so I did it by rubbing it with a pencil, and it said registration number 75543, I think it's 439. So that may help me, 755439. That may help me in my research to find out exactly what this bottle would have looked like originally. But it certainly looks nice at the moment. Okie doke. Right. Question. As I've mentioned already, we couldn't bring everything home with us. And some things we couldn't bring home with us because they were too large, too heavy, or they were something we had an awful lot of, so we couldn't justify the weight and the space in the bag. But on this particular video, there was one item that we could not bring home with us because it was simply stuck there. Because that was my installation, as I called it. It was a model that was frozen into a fallen tree. And as you would have seen on the video, Caroline managed to break it trying to prise it loose. I tried digging it out and there was no chance. It was solid stuck there. And I think the little animal on it was a spaniel dog. And the reason I think that is because spaniels, that particular breed of dog, was extremely popular on ornaments during the 19th century. They were very, very popular. Question is, which of the potteries was most associated with the model spaniel, gone blank now. Spaniels. That's right. I couldn't think of the word spaniel for a minute then. Which company was most associated with them? Was it A, Poole Pottery, B, Staffordshire Pottery, or C, Wedgwood Pottery? Go. What are you thinking, folks? Do you think it was Poole, as A, Staffordshire, B, or C, Wedgwood, that were most associated? Virtually every company did a version of the spaniels, the spaniel dogs, and throughout England and up in the Scottish potteries, they were producing these things, because when something becomes popular, then everybody will try and create a market for themselves. But there is one of those potteries which is closely associated, so much so that sometimes you will see a set of spaniel dogs referred to as by this pottery's name. So they will, rather than call them spaniel dogs, they will use the name of the pottery and then the dogs. So they are that associated with them. And it is either A, Poole, B, Staffordshire, or C, Wedgwood. And I can see straight away that we have got A's, B's and C's. But if I go back up towards the top, then... Oh, Abigail was saying there to Springer Spaniel as a child. Our last dog, and probably the last dog we will ever own, was an absolutely beautiful little King Charles tri-coloured spaniel, which was beautiful. Let's have a look. So, we've got the first three answers are correct. Lexi B said Staffordshire. Carrie Scott said B. And Tina Thompson said B. So, sorry to those who came after them, because there are a lot of correct answers, including, let me have a look here. After Tina, we've got Ed, we've got Sharon, we've got Ian. So we've got quite a few in a row there, but our top three, gold goes to Lexi, Colin takes the silver, and Tina takes the bronze. Yes, I can now say it. I had to stop myself from saying, they say a pair of Staffordshire dogs. That's what quite often auctioneers will refer to, a pair of Staffordshire dogs. And they are the flat back dogs about this high that used to stand either side of the mantelpiece on the Victorian fireplaces. So they would call them a pair of Staffordshire dogs. But they weren't Staffies as in the breed, they were Spaniels as in the breed. So there we go. I'm just going to have a little drop of water, folks. Now, as I say, Caroline is very good at trying to keep down to small things to bring home. I've already said I'm not that good, which is why I ended up bringing this. But we were right. The cork, the stopper, is not a match to the bottle, because you've got the BYB on the top, which is Bentley's, and this is Springwell Brewery. So possibly this stopper was put in this bottle before it went on the dump. Stoppers could have gone mixed up because they fit each other and people weren't too fussy. So it may have been that that era has existed all of its life in the dump, rather than someone came along and put it in, because this didn't look like a bottle people had made much effort with. But it's a lovely bottle, and it's got a green tint to it, and you can see some of the bubbles and imperfections. And I just decided I was going to bring it home with me. But of course, there was one bottle that I had to bring home with me. I'm sure you would all be filling up the chat and shouting your heads off at me if I hadn't brought it. And that was this one. Yes, folks, we've got one there. We've got one there, just behind me. And we've got one here. We now have a set of 3 whole cod bottles, complete with the marble. And this one is from the Elland Bottling Company. As you can see there, Elland Bottling Company. There we go. And an absolute cracker of a find. And although ounce for ounce, these are heavier than those. This is heavier than that, even though it's not as big. There's no way you're going to leave a whole cod bottle on a dump. So that one come home with me, and it was wonderful to find and to share with everybody. That the first whole cod bottle I ever found was, well, on a trek with Tom, and the third one that I've ever found was also on a trek with Tom. So thank you very much, Tom, for taking us and for not picking up all the cod bottles. So therefore this one was left there for me to discover, because I was quite pleased with that. And as I say, we've now got 1, 2, 3 in Dad's Bottle Shop. For those who haven't seen the Dad's Bottle Shop sign, that was a Christmas box of my youngest and their other half. That's what they gave me, Dad's Bottle Shop, when they heard about me flogging me bottles. They thought I should have a sign. Now, I'd better do another question, because we've only got 8 minutes left and I'm going to run out of time. So here we go. Oh, somebody, I love cod bottles, Lee said. So ingenious. Yes, an incredible, you've heard me talk about it before, and I'll just say it in case somebody hasn't heard it, because it's for me, it's one of the lessons in life. The problem was all the corks were popping out of the bottles when they put fizzy drinks in. That was a problem. In the cod bottle, it is the very pressure from the drink that keeps the thing sealed. So there are times when you can literally take something in life that is a problem to you and make that the solution simply by changing things. So I think that's always worth saying. Yeah, Ian Davis, cod bottles are great. Yeah. Hang on. Rachel Remy, is that a reference to the blue bottle? It's Derby Old English Lavender. Is that a conversation I'm missing, or is that to do with this bottle here? I'll check that out afterwards, because if that's correct, thank you ever so much for the heads up on that. There we go. Right then, what was I doing? That's right, I was asking a question. Of course, every time I put the question logo on, I have a quick look at the chat, and then I end up going off piste and I forget to do the question. We're now going to get them all done, are we? I can see it happening now. Okay, fourth question of the night. Get ready, folks. This is based on another item we could not bring back with us for two reasons. One, it was too big, and two, I can't think of any useful purpose for it, and that was the broken toilet pan. Yes, the loo with a voo. Okay, while it is widely held as a belief that Thomas Crapper designed the first flush toilet in the 1860s, that is not correct, because the first flushing toilet with a raised cistern was actually invented 300 years earlier in 1592 by Sir John Harrington, who was godson to which English monarch? Was he godson to A, Henry VIII, B, Edward VI, or C, Elizabeth I? Go. So, while everybody thinks Thomas Crapper invented the flushing toilet, he mechanized it, he mass-produced it, he put his name to it, but there was one in situ 300 years earlier. I believe you can still see it to this day, and it was invented in 1592 by Sir John Harrington, but I want to know, whose godson was he? Was he the godson of A, Henry VIII, B, Edward the Sixth, or I've written it down in Roman numerals, that's why I'm struggling, I should have put it in numbers, or C, Elizabeth I? Because, and if you know your kings and queens, then the date 1592 may help. Might not mind, but it may. Okay, let's run back to the top of all these answers. Oh, well. Oh. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Yes, Phil, I couldn't get that blue bottle out of my mind, lol. Oh, that's great. I'll be able to check it. And that would make sense, because blue and lavender, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. Right then. Okay, let's have a look. Well. We've got an array of answers, but we've got at least two correct answers. And if I scroll on down, oh yes, we've got enough, because the first correct answer comes from, yet again, second in a row, and the second time that she's written the entire answer rather than simply gone with C, Elizabeth I, for Lexi B. Well done, Lexi. Double gold, 2 in a row. Then we've got a C, which has come in from Mr. Mike Sage. So well done, Mike. You've got yourself a silver. Well done, my boy. I think you've had a few correct answers tonight, but not in the top set. But you're in now. So Lexi's got Elizabeth I. Mike's got Elizabeth I. Now I've got to just scroll down a bit because we had a few Henry VIII's. But then we got, we've got 2 more Elizabeth I in a row. And this time, rather than being pipped to the post, Rachel Bailey has taken that 3rd place. Rachel, you have the 3rd spot. You have got the bronze with a C, just pipping to the post. Sharon Paget, who also had C. So there we go. It's Lexi, it's Mike, and it's Rachel that take the 3 podium positions on that one. Right then. Now, we've got to come to that final question. I can't ask you the one I've been meaning to. Do you know what? I've ended up doing 4 questions and the Mankey question each week because I keep never getting to the 5th question in time because I talk too much. I might have to put that 5th question first next time just so we can ask it because it's a very interesting question, I think. But before I give you the Mankey question, I can hear him shouting behind me, "You haven't shown my finds." Yes, because while dear old Panky is up here with that lovely cake. You want to show your cake, kid? You want to show your cake? Come on, then. There you go. Come on down. There we go. She's been baking, so she'd just like to show everybody the cake that she's prepared for Caroline, ready for her birthday later this week. There we go. That's Panky's cake. So I'll put her down by there a second. And then... Yes, I know, Mangy. Yeah, yes. Yeah, Mangy said he's going to make a cake as well, but he wants me to show you his finds because, as you know, this week, Mangy came up with quite a collection. And he asked me to clean them up so that we could show them all here tonight for you to see. And there is Mangy's collection of pots, which he was very impressed with on the dump. So there we go. We've got that one, which looks almost like an insulator, doesn't it? Don't look. So there's an insulator just up there, and they don't look too different. But that would have contained something, possibly ink. This one would have contained probably cream, because it's a shape of a little, like a milk churn. This one would have been for on the table to pour your cream. But sadly the handle has got a bit broken. And here's a little pot that may have had honey or something in it, I don't know. But there we go. That was Manky's collection. And now we come to that all-important final question. How many times... Right, I should say, in how many places did you see Manky in this week's video? Go! Right. Ooh. Right then. Manky was a bit sneaky this week and he seems to have caught a few people out. So, the number officially, according to Manky, is 5. Let me explain why. Let me first say that means that the first answer in was correct from Sharon Paget. Then we have Ed Creative followed immediately by Rachel Bailey. So if it had been 4, Ribble Finds and Crafts would have had the correct answer, but would have been the 4th. As it was, he was also after the 5s. And just for you to know, if you look at Ribble, if you look at Steve's, he's got his smack on when he says 0 in Phil's pocket. That was right at the beginning. He was in both sections of the intro, but that was 1. In my pocket again by the toilet. That was 2. Then 7:25 by the pots. Now here's where he was sneaky. While Caroline was looking at the pots, Monkey moved around and stood to the side, which put him in a separate location. He was behind the pots. Then when Caroline turned to him and said about what a lovely collection it was, he had moved around. So he claimed that was officially 2 sightings. And then, of course, some of you may have missed, but this is one that Steve got, and that was during the music. The back of Monkey's head pumped into shot as he was dancing to the music. So there we go, folks. The official count was 5. Sharon, Ed and Rachel, you take the prizes on that one. Well, folks, it is 10:05. We didn't get the final question in before the Monkey question. We didn't get the second happy news in. I haven't been able to follow the chat, but thank you, Rachel. I now know what my bottle contained. I hope you've enjoyed being with me. I've enjoyed being with you. I look forward to seeing you at the end of March. There'll be a premiere on the last Friday of March, and we'll be here. Until then, I wish you all well. Take care of yourselves. Be kind, be good, and don't forget, have fun. Bye.